What up? I'm back. Yes, I'm back at y'all with another one, with another episode, and another topic. It's the William Green Experience live on YouTube. Make sure y'all subscribe. Make sure y'all subscribe. And if y'all miss any part of tonight's broadcast, you can find it on Spreaker.com/the William Green Experience. And the first song you saw, well, the first song you heard and saw, the video, is my boy Rated R. Met him through my boy TZ. Music is dope as fuck. Excuse my language. I'm trying not to cuss as much as I usually do when I come on the show, because I want everybody to listen. Especially what I'm going to be talking about tonight. I want everybody to listen to this episode. So I'm going to try my best not to swear as much, but hey, it's a bad habit I need to kick. But yeah, shout out to Rated R. Met him through my boy TZ. He lives here in New York City. I believe he lives in Queens. He's from Queens. So shout out to him. He's gonna be on the show soon. He's gonna be a guest on the show. Got my boy Fritz coming on the show next week. Also got my boy Chris Pinson. He covers the Gators and he works for ABC TV 20 out in Gainesville. He's gonna come on. He's gonna come on the show too, this coming Wednesday. And last but not least, I have one of my somebody I grew up with, my boy Rafael Reyes. Shout out to him. He's coming on Monday. He's gonna basically continue the conversation about mental health. He's gonna hop on with me. He's gonna tell us about his journey and where he's at now with working in the social work field. So thank you guys for agreeing to come on. It's going to be fun. It is really going to be fun. But this is what I want to talk about. The man you see to your right, those of you who follow sports know who this man is. And his name is Skip Bayless. He hosts the show with the man to your left, Shannon Sharp. Anybody who knows football knows he played in the NFL as a tight end. He played for the Ravens, I believe, was one of the teams he played for. But yeah, that's beside the point. They both host a show on FS1 that could be seen every weekdays at 9:30 on FS1, of course. Sorry for repeating myself. Yep. But they both host a debate show. They're the show that compete with First Take on weekday mornings. They just come on a half hour earlier. But Skip Bayless came out and had some words about Dak Prescott. Recently, Dak Prescott came out and told everybody how he's been feeling during the whole COVID situation. Because during that time, I guess his brother passed away, or should I say, his brother ended his own life. That's how he died. So he's grieving because his brother died. His brother committed suicide. That's a bad way for somebody to end their life. Like, some people die in car accidents. Some people die of, natural causes, cancer. But the person, his brother killed himself. So it's like when somebody ends their own life, it leaves you asking a bunch of questions. It's like, why did they do it? Or what was their mental health at the exact time they killed themselves? What made them kill themselves? It just leaves you with a lot of questions. And, suicide is just another topic altogether. Like, people always make judgments, especially religious people, when it comes to people who take their own life. People say, oh, it's a coward's way, or, oh, it's not God's way. we could get into another conversation about that, I guess, later on this show, because we're going to deal with that type of stuff. But for anybody who hasn't heard these comments, I heard them. Basically, he has a critique about, you know, Dak Prescott coming out and making it public. This is what he had to say.
Okay, all well said.
That's basically the gist of the whole thing. I've been the clip that's been floating around on social media is where he just made those comments and the clip stopped right there. Now I didn't hear the part where he said that he grew up in a broken home. But as far as his take in general, now before I give you my opinion, I'm just gonna say no, he doesn't need to be fired. I'm not gonna cancel him because that's stupid. Somebody said that we should have council culture instead of cancel culture. So we just have to talk. I believe his comments about Dak Prescott coming out with how he's been feeling, you know, after his brother passed away. I feel like it comes from a place of, you know, not hate, but it's an outdated way to handle stuff. It's a very dated way to handle stuff. You see, what people need to realize is, look how old, like Skip, like he's about to be 70 soon, I believe. So a lot of the older generation has this idea that anybody who's born after them, like, you know, anybody who's born like in a set like the like the 80s, 90s, because they really don't like go. They don't really don't go at people born in the 70s like that. At least I haven't seen it. They go after the younger generation, like the baby. They call it the baby boomer generation, like that generation that was born in the 1950s. They're the ones that look down on like young people and say, "Oh, back in my day, we just put our bootstraps and fought. We fought. We fought." You see, stuff like this is the reason why people don't want to come out and talk about what's bothering them. Comments like that is what we don't need in 2020. Sure, I guess that worked in 19 whatever, 1964, 65, 66, 67, like 1971. Nah, I'm sure it worked back then, but this is why people are fucked up mentally because they're told to suck it up. Now I get it. You should suck it up. But also, if you're coming out and telling everybody what's like, what the issue is instead of keeping it in the dark, then I don't got a problem with that. Some people might call it attention seeking. I think there's layers to it. I really think it depends on how genuine they are. Like if you're just constantly going on like social media and posting something every single day, and like you're always it's like it's always something wrong with you like every day, then I'll tell that person that they need to seek help. But if they've been holding it in and he decided to go public, because remember, he is a public figure. So he could have kept that to himself, but also you want to, like this whole COVID thing has been tough for everybody. It's been tough on me mentally. Like my grandmother lost 2 of her friends that she played spades with. And then on top of that, friends of mine had been losing all kinds of family members, grandmothers, grandfathers, aunties, uncles. If it's not COVID killing them, somebody's out there killing them. Like it's crazy out here. I found out one of my godbrothers got shot in the head. One of the nicest people you can meet. He's gone. Somebody I went to school with recently found out her grandfather passed away. Thoughts goes out to her and her family at this time. It's like every time I turn around, somebody's dying. It's like I turn the news on, you hear somebody's dying. I go log on to social media, somebody I know or somebody that I follow on social media, they're announcing a family member that passed away. It's crazy. So it's like, what are you supposed to do with that? What do you want him to do, Skip? Do you want him to just sit there and just take it and not say anything about it? I wouldn't want him to, because you know what that does? It just makes it worse. It makes it worse because you have nobody to talk to you about your problems. Like you feel you can't go to your friends. You feel you can't go to your family. Now I do agree with Skip that it is a dog eat dog world when it comes to the world, because it is a cold world. Because honestly, there's some people that would show empathy, and then you got the other ones that just don't give a damn about what's going on with you. He's right about that. To say that he's not, that's foolish. Because that's it's not realistic. It's not realistic at all. There's going to be some people who care. There's going to be some people who don't. Like, you could post your family member passing away. You're going to have people who react to it and comment, and you're going to have people that's going to sit there and ignore it. That's usually how it is. So to say that he's, like, foolish for saying that part of it, I agree. But to say that he's weak for coming out with it, that's not fair. Because trying to suppress whatever bad feelings that you might have because you want to be the strong one for people, notice those are the ones that usually end up on a respirator. They end up on a respirator because because they're fighting for their life because they probably had a stroke or had a heart attack because they stressed. People need to take mental health seriously. And what I mean by that is if you have an issue with depression, go talk to a friend about it. Go talk to a family member. If you feel like they don't understand you, then the third best thing for you to do after that is to see a therapist. Trust me, it helps. People might say it doesn't work. I'm going to tell you something. Anybody who tells you that therapy doesn't work, I'm gonna say this. Either one, they've never gone, and they want to like tell you how it doesn't work. Excuse me. They want to tell you how it doesn't work. Or two, they probably do see somebody every week, and they don't take the therapy seriously. And what I mean by taking therapy seriously is to admit to yourself that you have an issue. That's all you have to do is admit, like, it's hard, trust me. Like, you have to be real with yourself. If you're going to talk to somebody, make sure you tell them everything that's wrong. Because it's great to hear like somebody else's perspective from somebody who doesn't know you. Like this person, he or she who's talking to you, like they don't know anything really about you, so you have to tell them what's bothering you. You have to tell them about you. Because part of healing is to take accountability, is to, like, the first step to fixing the problem is admitting you having one. You have to admit you have a problem in order to fix the problem. And a lot of people don't do that. A lot of people just go to people and they look for that person who they're talking to agree with what they have to say. Like, no, that's not what it means. Like, like the person has to tell you what you need to hear, not what you want to hear. Sometimes you need to hear the truth. And what I mean by truth is that don't mean you go out and belittle the person. You just have to tell them what the truth is. You have to tell them the facts. Like I said on the broadcast, my first ever broadcast, but I did with Teasy. And I'm gonna say it again. There was a time where I was in a car with TZ and my boy Rich Evans. We was on our way to Union. They was gonna take me back to Union Station so I can head back home. Because I was there for the weekend. Because we all went to the Shane Shamrock Cup in Maryland. But anyway, I was feeling bad because I was doing this whole podcast thing, this whole radio thing, this whole photography thing for about, let me see, 3 years. 3 years. I started in 2013 doing this media stuff, and TZ had just got a buzz, and and people was approaching him, asking to take pictures, and you know what? I was jealous because I wanted that stuff. But you wanna know what Rich told me? He told me it wasn't really. It was more or less. He asked me, "How can I build a fan base if you're not really doing anything to do it?" Meaning, I can do this show all day long. I could sit here in front of this camera and talk to y'all all day long, but what am I doing to make it better? What I'm going to do to make this show different from every other show? So me being the person that I can take accountability. So I sat down and thought about it. I'm like, you're right. I really haven't done anything outside of just putting out the content. I haven't, because I suffer from social anxiety. So me just approaching people to network with them, it ain't easy, but it's something that I have to do. I have to come out my show. Because believe it or not, people think that I'm not a shy person. I am a shy person. I'm very shy. But I guess I build confidence enough to even sit here and sit here to do the show, looking at this camera, looking at these lights in front of me. It took work. It took work. Like earlier today, I spoke on a panel. The program name was CUNY Smart. It's a program that I joined so I won't do remedial courses this coming semester. It's a program that allows students to just take the courses and then take the test at the end so they won't take remedials. It's a good program for anybody that's trying to go back to school or going to school for the first time that needs remedials to take. They asked me to speak on a panel, and I did it. Because I told them, if you want me to be an advocate for the program, let me know. And what happened? She asked me to speak on the panel. So earlier this afternoon, that's what I did. And it was awesome. Because Skip is right about one thing. You have to pull yourself up from depression. But it's not as simple as he's making it seem. It's not as simple as me saying, oh, you have to put your bootstraps up, you have to toughen up. No, it's not that simple. You have to gradually do that yourself, but when you do it, you have to admit that you have a problem, and then fix the problem. You can't fix the problem without addressing the problem first. Addressing the problem is to tell everybody what's bothering you so you can get it out there. It doesn't make you weak. It doesn't make you weak at all. Just like if you want muscle, what do? You go to the gym. You work those muscles out, you get stronger. Same thing with mental health. You have to do things to improve your mental health, and that's by eliminating the stuff that you can't control and you can't let it bother you. The stuff that you could control, change it. If you work at a shit job, quit. Those are things that you can control. You can't control whether or not somebody lives or dies. That's up to whoever you believe in upstairs. whatever that may be. You can control your environment. That's what you can control. You can control what kind of job you want to work for the rest of your life. But I'm just going to tell you, like these past few months of this year, it's opened my eyes to a lot of stuff. Because believe me, this pandemic has tested everybody's mental health and mental strength. You got people who lost family members, like I stated earlier. You got people that have been laid off from their jobs. You got essential workers that's been working during this whole pandemic and dealing with rude-ass customers or dealing with rude-ass clients if they're a social worker. Then on top of that, you have to deal with wearing a mask in public and dealing with idiots looking at you like you have COVID-19. Everybody's just on edge. 2020 is one of those years where your mental strength is going to be put to the test. Like, it's crazy. So the only thing you have to start with what you can control in order to be happy. Like, I was working retail for the last 2 years. Well, for the last 5 years. Because in 2014, I was unemployed, and that was stressing me out. So I had experience in retail, and what I did was I wanted to move up in the company like I always do when I work at any company. I want to advance. As soon as I found out I couldn't advance, when I was working at Marshall's, I left. Then I went to the Old Navy. Tried to move up there. That didn't happen. I left there because my mental health was declining. I was declining because I was no longer happy working there. So I decided not to go back there. Well, technically, I didn't decide. They fired me, but that's the irony. The irony was I didn't want to go back there. I wasn't happy there. Like, why should I stay at a place where they don't value your time? They don't value you as a person. They look down on you. Why would I stay at a place like that? Because at the end of the day, if all this shit is going on and I'm still working there, then that's a me problem. I can't blame nobody but myself because I chose to work. I chose to continue to work there after experiencing BS from both sloppy looking ass managers or should I say a sloppy looking ass manager and rude ass customers. So whoever worked at Target, all these other stores, worked in the hospitals, y'all should have got hazard pay. So I can only imagine like what your mind state is during this whole pandemic. But at the end of the day, you like those same people can take their grievances and complain about how they're not getting nothing, but the people that's unemployed are. They can't complain about that on social media. They love to do that. You see, I notice a lot of people like to put each other down. Like they can never be happy for somebody. It's like somebody. It's always some sort of competition. I think that's the main reason why a lot of people feel like depression because social media. And I ain't gonna lie. Sometimes I be falling victim to that. Sometimes it be to the point that I gotta log off. I gotta take breaks. You got people posting about like posting their cars. All the nice stuff that they're doing. That's fine. I'm happy for people. But sometimes some people be posting stuff like that to make others feel inadequate. But I tell people, you can't let that stuff affect you because at the end of the day, you're not competing with them. You're competing with yourself. Everything you have to do, you have to live your life for yourself. You have to do it for yourself or whoever or if you have a family and whatever, you live for them. But you have to make sure your own mental health is in order. You can't you can't just like live for other people. You gotta live for yourself. You was born by yourself. More than likely, you're gonna die by yourself. So you have to be the person to want to change your life. You got to be the reason why you advance. You advance, like you level up. Like you have to be in control of your own life. Like that's what it's all about. Do what makes you happy. That's been the theme this year for me. And anybody that's negative, I cutting them off because you're gonna have people that's gonna drag you down. You're gonna have people that's gonna make you feel bad because at the end of the day, they probably feel bad inside themselves. Like the ones that like to talk all the stuff about you. Like anytime you do something, they snicker, but they don't do it to you directly. They'll do it indirectly to somebody else, or they'll like when they speak to you, they'll say some shit, and it's usually some dumb shit. Usually, like okay, when it comes to me, like I noticed that like some people who I speak to who I really don't speak to like that. They'll ask about my podcast and whatever, and I'll tell them about it, and they say some like snide remark type shit, and I'm like, okay. I just ignore it. Or you got the ones on the internet, particularly men. They're over here worried about how somebody else is lame. Like, bro, why do you care? Are you lame? You must be because you want to care. You want to concern yourself with what lame people are doing. So you must be lame. You must want to join them. You must want to join them if you really care that much. Some people might call it overanalyzing. It's not. It's called having observation skills. Think outside the box. Just don't think in that box that they tell you to think. Think outside of that motherfucker. Think outside that motherfucker. Think outside of it. You gotta think outside the box. Most of the people who say stuff like that, their observation skills blow anyway. So, what does that tell you? It means that they can't see the prism of their thought process. They don't know how to think big. They're not a wide thinker. They just think in that one little box that they put themselves in, and they think that's how it works. Like, seriously. But yeah, You have to do what makes you happy at the end of the day. I'm still working on my stuff. I'm still a work in progress. I'm not gonna ever come on here to fake it. I'm not gonna fake it on. I'm not gonna be fake. I'm not gonna pump fake. Be me. It took me years to realize. It took me years to find myself, and I mean, it took me beyond my adulthood. It really started from my childhood. Like, I used to get viciously picked on to the point that I thought about killing myself as a kid. I thought about killing myself. I'm going to admit this right now. I really thought about killing myself when I was a kid. Because back then, I couldn't defend myself. Yeah, anybody who knows me, I used to cry a lot. I was called baby cry and all this other stuff, all this other shit because I couldn't verbally defend myself against idiots. I didn't have the gift of gab that I have now. Now, if somebody tries to say some shit, either I'll do two things. Either I roast you, because I could do it. People don't think that I could roast somebody that I could, but I could. All I'll do is use logic against them. Because a lot of the shit that they do and say makes no damn sense. And it's stupid. Like, for example, some dude I went to school with. I forgot his name. The son bitch looks like Franklin the Turtle. I went to high school with him. I posted my opinion about Jussie Smollett. He gonna come on my post and tell me to shut the F up. So I said something back. And it's funny because it be those same guys. It be the ones that peaked in high school. Those are the ones that always have something smart to say. And then his reply to that was, you acting like you, just not pretend like you was 6'4" in high school. What the hell is that supposed to mean anyway? You're the one that came to my shit to start something with me. I didn't say nothing to you. The only thing I did was reply back to your dumbass. That's what I did. And then he started calling me retarded and all this stuff. Dumb shit. When they don't have a comeback. Because that's a stigma that's been with me since I was in the 7th grade. When the assholes used to call me slow in the mind. But who's slow now? Who's selling swipes at the train station? It ain't me. Who's slow? I say that to say this. Like, I had it rough. I wouldn't say I had it rough, because there's people that's been in worse shoes than me. Been homeless. They live in a broken home where the parents don't care about them. They choose drugs over them. Like in high school, I thought everybody was after me because of the way because of the way I got picked on in high school. I mean, in elementary and junior high school. I wish I would have sorted out therapy then, but luckily for me, I was able to do it at 30 years old. Now I'm 32, 2 years in therapy. I still do it. I still do sessions every Monday. I still do it. I'm still working on myself. I'm a work in progress. So I'm not perfect. And I'm not going to come on here and pretend that I am neither. Like most people go on social media and do. But I'm not going to sit here and just hide it all. I'm going to tell y'all the truth. Right now, I can say that I'm the happiest I've been in a while. Because I made smart decisions that I thought about myself before I thought about pleasing other people. And I think that's the problem. I think people need to quit going out their way to please other people. Sometimes you just have to say no. Just say no. At the end of the day, you have to live for yourself. You don't live for other people, especially if you're not married to them, especially if you didn't have kids with them. You have to say no. If it doesn't benefit you, or if the person ain't giving you the same energy, don't give them your energy at all. They don't deserve it. Like, you got people out here that makes other people inadequate. Well, they try to make other people inadequate all the time. Like, I'm going to tell y'all a story before I get off here. One of my boys, who I worked at Old Navy with, he told me about a manager that tried to play him because I guess he was talking to somebody about him being in school, like being in school and trying to become a teacher, or was about to land a teaching gig. So somebody told him that the dude was making fun of him. Let me tell you something. He wrote me and told me he hated that man. But he didn't mean it, though. He was drunk. So I told him never let a person like that bring you out your character. Even though it's easier said than done, because we have our days where we're having a bad day and somebody just does something to piss you off and they just got you at the right time. But I told him, never let somebody like that take your shine away or make you feel like you're not. Because at the end of the day, he ain't shit neither. Like, what is he, like, come on, bro. The dude is about to become a special ed teacher. And the dude that I'm talking about is just a fat slob. Let me tell you something. I have nothing against fat people or short people or tall people because I like big women. Anybody who knows me knows that. But it's one thing to be fat and sloppy. How in the fuck are you fat and sloppy and you're a manager? That says a lot about the people who promoted you. That says a lot about them. So he's still doing that while the man is working in the Board of Education as a special ed teacher. A teacher that, something that means way more in the long run than you telling a bunch of young bucks what to do on the sales floor. Being a special ed teacher means more to the world than telling a bunch of young bucks when to go to lunch. It means way more. Way more. So, don't ever let anybody like that make you feel like you're less than. Because if you have to go out your way to make other people feel bad, then safe to say, your life is probably shit, and you probably feel like you underachieved. Because you did underachieve. You're still working at this store. That man's working at a school. Which one would you rather have? I'm waiting for somebody to answer my question. Which one would you rather have? And if you say retail, I'm smacking the shit out of you. Just joking. But if you say retail, you must be smoking dust or something, because it means shit. It means shit in the long run. Nothing against people who work retail. I'm not trying to bash y'all, but if you're going around trying to make other people feel bad in life, then you should look in the mirror, because your life is fucked. I'd like to thank y'all for tuning in to this episode of the William Green Experience. Monday, I'm going to have my boy Ralphie come on. Rafael Reyes. Me and him with the elementary school together. He reached out to me and said he wanted to come on the show to talk about mental health. So me and him definitely going to do that. We're also going to talk about his thoughts on what Mr. Skip Bayless had to say. I'm not going to come on here and just bash. Well, not bash, but I'm not going to just, like rip him. Because I feel like he's just part of the older generation that has the mindset, that has that ideology. I don't believe in just bashing people. I want to. It's good to talk and have dialogue. Now he hasn't apologized for what he said, and I don't believe he should if that's what he meant. But I just hope one day he has an understanding about how to handle mental health. I just hope one day he does. It's the William Green Experience. You have a good night. See y'all Monday.